Welcome back, Noble Heroes. We return once again to Mythia, where our characters find themselves in Garen after the summit has taken place and after they have traveled to the Forgotten Place, where they have discovered many dark artifacts, including a unique cape that Isaac found that he was able to make use of thanks to his ability to change from a living to a dead creature. It grapples onto the living and doesn't let go, but it slides right off a corpse. Fortunately for him, he is both. We find ourselves outside, in fact, of the Forgotten Place after a long time of searching inside. You've discovered clues that the sword itself, Tear, was taken by Khaled the Conqueror, and she has fled after fighting with Harper and crew and a number of other Death Knights who seem to be somehow under her sway. That was many years ago, though, so who knows where she is now with it. Unfortunately, it is gone. And the dark, hideous, horrible artifacts inside are left forgotten for the moment.
Oh yeah, I guess they are after we leave.
But not the cape. So you do remember that there are things like the cape inside.
Because it looks like red, sort of, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So anything inside, you cannot remember that it exists. You just know that there is stuff there. If you enter again, you will immediately remember all the things that you learned upon entering this time. If you are enjoying our content, please give us a like and subscribe. And remember, do try this at home. We begin with a perspective of a down-and-out Roland. Roland felt awful. A poisonous mix of guilt and self-loathing revolted inside of him, exploding up to his head, where in the blasted remains of his mind, he was left with only a terrible aching. He rather rudely ignored his family upon entering his house and stomped up the stairs, making an alarming amount of noise in his armor. He had almost gotten used to wearing his armor at all times, but at this moment he couldn't stand it. It felt sticky and hot. So he roughly tore it from his body, letting each piece clatter to the floor, until he was only in his undergarments and fell in a sweaty pile on his neatly made bed. The cool night air flowed into his window and felt clean and cool on his skin, but his mind was scorched. He felt betrayed. But by who? Feeling angry at fate itself wasn't satisfying, and he couldn't bring himself to be mad at Hero, who hadn't even had control of himself. That left only one person to be mad at. Himself. He hadn't been decisive enough, he thought. Fate had felt him wobbling between his decision and had made it for him, and in the wrong direction. The weight of his choice had paralyzed him, but now that it had been made, he immediately knew which choice he would have preferred. He felt suffocated. He tore off the remainder of his clothes and lay naked and alone. He longed for the freedom that he felt with the questers. Now, despite not carrying anything at all, he could feel the entire city on his shoulders. The promise of awkward future engagements, plotting looks, and the terrible excitement of his fans. He felt even worse for knowing that all of this was socially desirable. People longed to have his fame and position, worked their whole lives to have even half of what he had been given. But right now, he wanted none of it. He wanted to fight alongside his friends, to laugh and cry with them. Euphemia's confidence, Isaac's thoughtfulness, Juniper's wisdom, Hero's companionship, Dom's stories, Bali's tough buddy attitude, Prongor's manner, and even Jania and the birds. The thought of them made him feel better. He barely remembered the pet dangers of the past month, diving in the river after Uthgail, fighting Ace, Pit, and Satan. He remembered when the group put their heads together to answer some gnome riddles, when Cleby had gotten over his fear of shadow to paint on the cabin wall and berry juice, when Potjack sang an embarrassing song about him, when Isaac gave him some relationship advice, when Juniper turned Shadow into a girl for a night and they danced together, when he and Euphemia seemed to fight over Hero's affections. He lay for a long time. He wasn't sure how long, reminiscing on a time that had just barely passed, and missing it like a good friend who had passed. He hadn't known how much it had meant to him until it was over. It's not over. The now familiar voice of Dalnor spoke up from within his mind. Roland hadn't noticed his presence, since he had kept it much more contained than the other did. They truly were different entities. What do you mean? Roland asked glumly, with a bite of anger. Your role in the prophecy isn't over. Dalnor continued. Juniper said it. After you all left the summit, fate has just made a judgment call that your role here in Garen is more important than whatever you might do with them. Roland vaguely remembered someone saying something like that. He mused over that for a few moments before Dalnor went on. We have no idea what's coming. Fate might have moved you here to save their lives. You might be the key to getting them an opportunity to fix fate that you couldn't do from anywhere else. They still need your help. Not your sword. The words were kind, understanding, and made Roland feel a little better. His mind shifted from despair over duty to thinking of ways he could still help out the group. He could seek out items that might help them, or ask other heroes with special powers to break barriers that were in their way. More like a general over the battle than a captain on the front line. And though he enjoyed the captain position more, the general was still part of the war. A very important part. We begin with the characters returning from the Forgotten Place. You only have a vague recollection of curiosity tinged with horror. Red, Harper, Faline, and Opt are with you. And Harper's raccoon bear is pulling the front of the cart that is taking you back into the city's walls. Garen opens up for its heroes, and you all scoot back inside, and they close behind you for the night. Juniper, the call of birthday parties awaits you.
Oh, yes.
And Euphemia and Isaac have both been invited to Dom's special tea ceremony, which takes place in only a half an hour. So you kind of need to move as quickly as possible to get there. Isaac, Prongor is regaling you of things he thinks he remembers about the items in the Forgotten Place. I think, Master, there was a head of darkness inside, and it spoke to us in riddles. And you answered them all correctly, of course. And then it was going to give us forbidden knowledge, but, well, I don't remember anything else. He says, you don't remember anything of the sort, but, you don't know. Maybe Prongor's mechanical parts give him some insight into this.
Isaac kind of nods his head listening and says, you know, Prongor, some things are best left forgotten.
He's going to look like he doesn't necessarily believe that. But he will give a firm nod that suggests that if you do, he'll go ahead and forget it too.
I've never agreed with Prongor more.
Juniper and Euphemia, you both notice a small twitch in the mask that Red is wearing, suggesting that perhaps the man underneath might be smiling at the interaction between Prongor and Isaac. You suspect that if Red was given the key, he must gain the ability to remember it somehow.
Maybe because he's forgotten by everything, including, like, fate, I guess.
That is what he claims. That fate forgets to include him sometimes.
Wow, that's so sad.
Like, that takes, like, the little kid on the playground all by themselves to a whole new level.
Oh my god.
Either way, the masked vigilante seems... Well, I guess he's not a vigilante. The masked man seems amused by the conversation. He's going to look across the way. Where'd you get those? He says to Euphemia, looking down at your shoes.
She gave them to you outside of the crypt, right? Because she didn't go in, right?
She gave it to Yuffie still in the city, I believe.
Because that would have
before
been
they left.
hilarious if she gave them to you in the crypt. You'd be like, I have no idea!
Faline is in the other carriage.
Yuffie says, Faline gave them to me.
Really?
She mentioned that they'd fit me pretty well.
He nods, and you sense a bemusement within the man. Did she? He says.
Is that so odd? She asks.
No. Totally normal.
Yeah.
He says unconvincingly.
Yuffie says, I definitely believe you.
He says,
Convincingly.
don't worry. You won't remember anyway.
Yuffie looks a little sad at that, actually.
Harper's going to turn to him. Stop.
Wait, Harper's here now?
He's in the carriage. Yeah.
Didn't he go somewhere? Did he just wait? Okay,
can't
that's
remember.
cool. I don't remember. Never mind. I'm willing to go with it.
Okay, we'll say he's in the other carriage at the very least, so he's not within the conversation. But nobody's here to stop Red's prying. So, the other carriage is headed over in the direction.
Oh God, you put him in the carriage with me?
Yeah,
Oh, that was a bad idea.
it's headed over in the direction of Hero's house. It'll stop by the Meek Quarter and let you out. This one is headed more towards the Citadel. So, on the way back, any pertinent words from anybody?
I can't
June?
remember.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were still on the other carriage. June will turn to Hero and ask, so what is it that I'm to expect?
Well, cake. Hopefully good conversation. He kind of crosses his fingers. I have quite a number of people looking to meet you, he says. He's going to say, let's see, there's my cousin, feeds ducks, must whisper, green thumb, sings like whale, and then the triplets, of course, always late, always early, and right on time.
Bet that caused some problems in the family.
I mean, everybody just made it like 5 minutes earlier, so everybody would arrive on time, you know?
Ish.
She just kind of gives them an odd look when he says that.
He says, and then the birthday boy, One Wheel, and my aunt, Long Ears. It's her birthday too, and, well, we're celebrating yours. And then my uncles are going to be there, yells at birds and doesn't understand. And then my mom is healthy. And remember, One Wheel has some information about those guardian people.
Oh, yes.
So he's looking forward to telling the story again for the 80th time.
Did he say that One Wheel was his cousin?
Yes.
Okay. And Long Ears was his aunt.
Yes.
Okay. Is Harper coming with us to this party?
It's just dropping you off.
Oh, okay. Just checking. Because I bet that would be a hit.
Do you ask him, though?
She goes, are you joining us?
Not my birthday. Besides, if we're going to get ready for a journey, I'm going to need to prepare my provisions. And I haven't done so yet.
Is there anything you need that I could help with?
I don't think so.
Keep it in mind.
You sense distant stoicism and a refusal to accept the offering regardless.
She had a feeling, but it was better to do it and than to not.
Okay. You find yourself stepping out of the cart with Hero at the walls of the Meek Quarter, which is a section of the city that's about maybe 5% of the whole city, near Old Town, between the old sort of sandwich between Old Town and New Town. So you can see the Citadel quite far off to the northeast. Well, here we are, he says, looking at a gate that's wide open with no option of shutting. And you see inside, despite the evening coming on, that there are a number of seeming meeting points, mostly wells, in this district that seem full of gossiping meek. you notice instantaneously the difference in greenery between normal Newtown and Meat Quarter. The Meat Quarter is full of plants and long grass, actually. Their yards tend to not be mowed or scythed
Why?
because they have to hire people to do it most of the time.
What did God say about coming?
He said that he would be there.
Okay.
As you walk in,
God. You'll
Okay.
find out.
Okay. Okay. I didn't hallucinate that either.
You did not.
Okay.
as you head inside, Hero is going to.
How big is the house? Would it be something that I'd have to stoop in?
Almost certainly not.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, I would assume I would have to stoop in a halfling house, so.
right. That is potential, but there are building codes for Meek. I mean, they're living in Garen, the city, and
So?
they need to be able to have a shepherd get in their house.
Okay, that's fair, I guess.
Speaking of which, as soon as you enter, you see the quaint, smaller houses of the Meek. They're mostly like tile roofed, but some of them are still thatched. And you see a wide mix of buildings, as though there was a lot of sort of eclectic desire that went into each individual one. Although they are stacked fairly close to one another, it's not like apartment complexes or anything. It's mostly just like families living in one house, apartment or families are living in homes rather than apartment complexes, which isn't always the case in Garen. You will see a lot of unique buildings. You think you see a forge in here. And uniquely, over to the side, you see a graveyard.
Oh, yeah, that is really odd in Garen.
It seems like a decent piece of the sector. As you notice it, Hero's going to turn to you. He sort of says, the Meek, well, I guess we tend to visit our dead more than everybody else. And nobody's scared of Meek zombies, he says.
I don't know if it was you.
I think even if it was me, he says. He begins to sort of regale you with the neighborhood history a little bit as you walk. But you do see his house, which is that one right there in the center.
June has an attentive and interested attitude as she listens to him. She has clearly given him her full attention.
You see that Hero's aunt's house is very nice, with a small garden out the back and a little pool, which probably they swim in the summer. And there's a little walk path of cobblestones up to his house. Looks nice and quite rural, although it is in the midst of an urban district.
Are these a bunch of meek chilling
They are.
out?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
chilling out. Yeah.
Are there many big people here?
The only big person you see, in fact, is an on-duty shepherd, who's going to give you a glance over, but no more. He's about 30 yards away. But you do see him kind of like, he seems friendly with the populace. He sort of gestures with a wave towards a group of meek who's walking by, a bunch of grannies who are like 15.
15-year-old grannies sounds like the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho, I'm picturing them. This is gonna come off wrong, but like kind of like dogs.
Yeah, don't say that to Hero.
I would never. Honestly, they're kind of like everybody to me, so why not?
So, as you move
You're all
forward,
like dogs.
Hero is going to turn towards you and sort of like brush himself off and, how do I look? He says.
Quite presentable. How about myself?
I don't think you've ever looked disheveled in your life.
Clearly, you weren't paying attention during several battles.
I actually was, he says as he turns towards the door. He heads up, and a wash of light comes out as he opens the door up. Elsewhere, you all pull up to the Citadel, where you get out and head back up the winding path using like a rickshaw-like contraption.
Cool.
When you reach the top, you head up immediately to Dom's, or do you go elsewhere?
Oh, sorry, I had forgotten. She would have asked Red about any updates for the mage hand gloves, since he took them and had somebody repairing them.
He says that he thinks that they're ready. If you just want to head by tomorrow morning and pick them up, I think they're closed right now.
Okay, she sets the time to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Isaac, did you have anywhere you want to go before, or do you guys go to the ceremony? Okay. He shook his head.
We're running pretty late, so I think both of us are like, we should probably be somewhat on time.
All right. You are going to see, as you are walking through the Citadel, you sort of look out from this, you're on like a walkway above a courtyard that has sort of nice gardeny structure down below. And you hear Bali's voice down there. You see Bali and Johnny seem to be sparring against one another to the amusement of the remainder of your crew. But not Dom.
Who's winning?
It seems fairly even.
Yuffie will kind of give a whoop down there at them, cheering them on.
All right. Johnny looks up, but in the shadows of the brazier, she can't quite make you out. So she sort of just looks up as Bali just clocks her on the face.
Cheater.
Euphemia chuckles a little bit.
Isaac, Prongor is going to follow you directly into the ceremony. Would you like him to be part of it?
Yeah. He can come in with us. He knows how to behave at these sort of things.
As you step into the rooms that were gifted to you by the kings, you will find an excited Dom. He is very clearly set everything to perfection and is sort of glancing over it for one last check when you all walk in. Just in time, he says, as he looks up towards you all. There seems to be almost a childlike excitement on his face. He's going to reach down and just scoot a tiny little thing to the right, just very slightly, and then move off towards another table where he has his tea collection laid out. He's going to sort of ruffle through them real quick and say, I figure we could start with something a little less special and then move up as we go along through the night. What do you think?
Yuffie looks at Isaac sort of I'm not entirely sure what to do with this tea ceremony.
No sleep for the week.
Isaac leans over and just whispers, don't worry, Dom will spell it out for us.
It sounds good, she says, and it's nice to see you so excited about something.
He says, I think we'll start off with a unique tea. This one is not particularly strong in the dwarven sense, but should give you a nice palate cleanser, he says. And he's going to lift up two what look like giant balls of rock candy. They are sort of an azure. And he brings them over and places them down on little ceremonial plates and is going to take a knife, turn it around, and whack them on the top. And the two of them will crack open, and there is an egg yolk almost object inside. And then he's going to place down a cup of water and say, all right. And he's going to pick up the two little halves and dump the egg yolk-like object in, and it will instantly dissipate into the water. And you gain the sense that that was the tea.
I'm sorry, out of game, that is so cool.
He's going to sort of rub his hands together and say, it's got a nice sweet note in it. And he's going to gesture for both of you to sit down. He's going to sort of look around and there we go. He grabs a mug real quick and is going to just dump a bit of a flask into it for Prongor. I know you're not a tea man, he says.
So we got nice teacups and then Prongor got a flask?
He had a dwarven mug with a dwarven warrior stern face on it. And he dumped a bunch of alcohol in there.
if he gave like a fine teacup to Prongor, I was going to animate it so that I could keep Prongor from like tipping it over or something, but now I don't have to worry about it. This is so much less stressful for me.
Dom read the situation well.
Yes, he did.
As you all sit down, Prongor is going to begin sort of by giving you all a small little regaling of dwarven tea history. Apparently, in ages past for Pendulum, Pendulum was always quite standoffish. And part of that was because they had these intricate tea ceremonies in order to conduct any kind of business. And none of the outsiders knew any of the ceremonies, so they always considered them very rude and barbaric. So his father, being a man of somewhat what he considered a man of finery and sort of rigid social structures, imbued in both him and Ronan, but these ancient tea ceremonies, so that they themselves would never be caught flat-footed in social situations. And they've served him okay for that purpose throughout his life. Mostly to entertain good friends, though, rather than to make new ones. So, as he's saying that, he's sort of like moving the table. You're getting this swath of teas, sort of a sampling as they come. Some are sweet, some are a little biting, some are even cloying. But he gives you ample information and warning about the histories and where he kind of came to each one as he's going on.
Euphemia seems spellbound when he's talking about like the history of him and Ronan. Honestly, she seems happy to lap up any history or background.
Do you push him to speak more about Ronan? Or do you sort of let him sort of flow the conversation in different places?
Would Ronan have ever done a tea ceremony like this before?
No.
I didn't
Not
think
with
so.
you or even told you that they existed.
So Euphemia probably
Just
would
wants to know.
break in somewhat rudely at one point. Ronan knows them all too?
Ronan... When Ronan left Pendulum, it was on very bad terms with our father. And he carries that with him still. I left on much the same, but I eventually returned. After I left the hand. And made amends with him before he died. But I think Ronan considers this part of an old life, one that he left long ago, has no interest in continuing. He probably knows them, but wouldn't do them. And his tea collection is terrible. He's always been a man with a bar.
That sounds like Ronan. Although he should know better than anyone that our old lives have a way of coming back. You're never really rid of them.
He's going to look a little uncomfortable at that. How does Isaac look at that?
Isaac looks pensive, but not overtly. He's not reacting overtly to it. He's kind of letting this be between these two right now.
Prongor, you find him, like, you turn and his face is just, like, right at your face, and he's like... he's looking at you like, yeah. Yeah, your past doesn't go away.
Isaac kind of, like, gently puts a hand on his shoulder. Sorry for the dog.
No problem.
And kind of pushes him back into his spot.
His...
Relocate this dog real quick. Hold on.
Okay, his face reburies in his mug.
Euphemia seems to realize that she's probably said too much. So you were saying about the... And she repeats whatever the last tea he'd been talking about was. She mispronounces it.
Right, he says. And he continues. You are swarmed by meek.
I have to make a joke.
Okay.
So, Ronan must enjoy a good puer because it's fermented tea.
Oh my
Get outta
god,
here.
that was such a bad joke.
Jesus.
How long have you been holding that in?
A while. Ever since he said he liked the bar.
Wow.
Okay, I'm sorry. So, swarmed, huh?
Yes. The first meek to come up to you is going to say, wow, she's really tall. And then you're going to see another one who is like has cupped in his hands just a baby duckling.
I'm assuming that one is feeds ducks.
Yes.
Possibly yells at birds. Is he yelling at it?
He is. Get that thing out of the house!
I just want to say Yells at Birds is the best meek name I've heard all day.
You are assaulted with questions. How tall are you? They say, are you a wizard? They ask, what kind of robe is this? What's this made out of? It's your birthday? When's your birthday? What's the date?
What was my birthday? It was June 21st, 22nd? I can't remember.
That was 22nd.
Was it? Whatever day summer is.
That's the 21st, winter solstice. Summer solstice, right?
So the 21st?
The 21st is summer solstice.
Sure, we're going to go with the 21st. She will say, it's the 21st. And she will answer her current height. She won't specify, but she will say her current height. She says, yes, I am a wizard.
As you are assaulted with questions faster than one person could answer them, you're going to hear a pair of claps.
She actually does answer each question in the exact order it was given. And her head just turns to each one as she does it.
I feel like June's used to being assaulted with questions.
She is.
All right.
I'll do it.
Hero's mother is healthy, is going to sort of surprisedly stop on the second clap as you like rattle off the answers to each one of the questions. And the meeks are going to kind of like wide-eyed look up at you and then like look at Hero. And Hero's going to kind of like give like a shrug. And is healthy is going to sort of like come up and push the meeks to the side. Give her some space, please, she says. Stop. She says is like, he's like trying to put the duck on her shoulder.
By the way, June has been shrinking ever so slightly ever since she came in the door.
You're going to suddenly see one last meek is going to come up, and this way after everybody else is going to be like, what's your name?
Gotcha. Do you get it? Oh, I'm assuming this is always late. Gotcha. Okay. She goes, always late, I assume?
How'd you know?
Just a wild guess. My name is Juniper.
What's going on? You see this sort of decrepit meek begin to walk around. And you're going to see a very long-eared meek whose ears are tied in a bow at her back is going to come in and sort of put a cookie in that one's hands and, oh,
Singing it.
he says, a cracker.
Do your ears hang low? Do they wobble? Do they
Oh
fall?
my
Can you
God,
tie him in a
no.
knot? Can you tie him in a bow? Can you throw him over your shoulder?
What have
like
you
a cartoon
done?
soldier? Do your ears hang low? Sorry, she did not sing that. That would be rude.
But that's the only reason why she doesn't sing it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Long Ears puts a cookie in, doesn't understand his hand, and he goes, oh, a cracker, and starts eating it.
Oh.
Poor guy.
As is healthy approach, she says, I take it you're Hero's mother.
I am. And you're Juniper.
Indeed.
We've heard very much about you.
So I've been told.
Please, please. She's going to, despite telling the others to kind of get off you, she sort of like grabs your hand and sort of pulls you into the flood.
I'm told you make fantastic blueberry pies.
Hero, you've been talking about my pies again, she says, flattered. Hero's going to, his cheeks kind of redden as though he was speaking about some kind of forbidden secret. But she's going to pull you into a very pleasant, spice-smelling kitchen. And you're going to see 2 steaming blueberry pies on the windowsill. Their house is very nice, full of wooden decor, a lot of owls, little, their salt shakers are little meeks. They have a very large table in the side room. Probably fits maybe 15, 16. And you see a large chair that is sat at the front of the table for you. As you're pulled in, she's sort of rambling off the meal for the night.
What is it, out of curiosity? Is there anything in particular that stands out?
So, you are gaining the sense that their baking style is somewhat similar to like a mix between an elf and a halfling. So you're getting like mashed potatoes and biscuits,
Any
but you're also
seafood
getting like
dishes?
a very light salad. No, seafood is more expensive in Garen because they're landlocked.
Okay,
so it's pork.
I mean, they do have a river that runs the entirety of the kingdom.
Right, that's true. But most of the time, fishers get their own fish if they're going to eat them.
Okay. Anyway,
But either way, she's going to sort of like show you the meal and then bring you back out and put you in a very comfortable reclining chair.
while she was in the kitchen, she would have offered if there anything she could help with.
Oh, no, absolutely not, she says as she sort of pushes you out of the kitchen. Shoves you into a reclining chair and then says, you just relax and everything's going to be taken care of, okay? Do you need me to take anything from you?
I'm good, thank you.
Wonderful. I heard about all your bags, so I didn't think so. She's going to turn and she kind of gives Hero like a wink, like, I brought up the bags. Hero's like, thanks, Mom.
June is amused and is enjoying herself in a kind of detached sort of way, although she's being very polite.
So watching the Meeks sort of go about their standard dinner routine is a bit like watching a comedy movie.
Do they find her disconcerting, considering they can't read her?
You don't think they've tried yet.
Okay. She was a little concerned about that.
You do just like, doesn't understand, is just like staring at you.
He
At one
really
point he
doesn't
says,
understand.
what kind of Meek is that? Yells at Birds is being ordered to bring out dishes to the table.
Please tell me they don't have him bring out a chicken.
No, they do not.
Okay.
He's just screaming at it. I'm gonna eat you! While Sings Like Whale is going to sort of stand up on top of one of the chairs and begin to sort of like belt out a very fine, old, sort of upbeat Meek song about a little Meek that goes into the woods to chop lumber and tricks a number of bad monsters into fighting each other instead of eating him. And then he sort of escapes cleverly. And Feeds Ducks is going to just like place a duck in your lap.
I will pet it.
And then it just like brings out like a number of ducklings and like places them next to the mother, like one
June
at a time.
has a small conversation with them as she's doing it.
All right. When he comes back, he's like staring at the ducks and looking at you as they quack directly towards your face.
And she's making the quacking sounds right back at them.
And then you're going to see him sort of like, you'll see like a small dilation in his eyes. And when he does, he's going to like widen his eyes very wide and then like back away. You think he just tried to connect with you.
Gotcha.
She
She will smile as she looks at him, knowing that, and so she's going to try and bring him back in with conversation about ducks.
give me a DC 22 persuasion check.
Oh dear.
You can do it.
I don't know. Maybe
You can do it.
I do have pretty good persuasion. 24.
Excellent.
She brings him in. She goes, so Howard here, She gestures towards one of the ducks.
Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry, I can't help it today. She goes, he does request that perhaps you up the amount of greens in his diet.
You're going to see Hero is sort of like coming forward, getting ready to like bulldoze him away from you.
And she goes, and whereas Daisy here, she requires that you keep going exactly as you are.
But then he stops when he sees that Feeds Ducks is going to, like, his eyes sort of shift back, and he's going to, like, scratch his ear, and then, like, look down. Whoa, you can talk to them? He says. That's incredible! Tell me everything! And he's at your knee for the next 10 minutes as you tell him the secret needs of ducks.
Yep, and she tells them their real names, too.
All right.
Daisy the duck.
I was going to go with Donald, but
I'm glad you didn't, but now you just did it.
I didn't actually name it Donald.
As he leaves, taking as many of the ducks with him as you desire, Hero's going to bring up one wheel. You don't see any innate like thing about one wheel that would suggest his fate. Hero is going to, Jennifer, this is one wheel, he says, and he has a story for you.
Indeed, I was told you had an interesting story, but I hadn't gotten to hear it yet.
Yes, ma'am, he says. There was, she looked just like you, he says.
Oh, yeah.
And there was another one, and he describes Annalise, basically. And the two of them, they were sitting in the middle of a very nice, like, meeting room, right? And then I go in, and I'm with my cousin, he says, and we're talking about a loan, and they give us, well, some really bad advice, he says, telling you how he basically got scammed by them, trusting the innate trustworthiness of godmothers.
June, her face is just frozen in a polite look right now as she's listening. Hero has been around her long enough to know that she's furious, but she's hiding it because she doesn't want to scare these people.
He describes that one of them kept playing with some kind of object. He describes it as a piece of metal, like a coin, but bigger. And he says that there was little tiny pieces of metal stamped around it.
Does that ring any bells for me?
And he said that it had a little red, looked like a little, like, worm that went through it. Make an investigation check. DC 15.
So very much yes. So 27.
To be honest, it sounds like Guardian Tech. The worm he's suggesting sounds like a red wire running through some kind of diode.
Considering how many times she's seen Isaac's weirdo wire things, yeah. Only one of them had one of these?
Yeah.
Which one? The one that looked like me?
Uh-huh. He says that it was very cold in the room. Like, I could almost see my breath.
I see. Anything else you can think of? Her voice is very calm and very soothing as she says this, like almost too soothing and too calm.
No.
What was it that you needed?
I need a new barn, he says.
And what happened with the advice they gave you?
They didn't give it to me. She just kept playing with it. The other one told her to put it away.
No, you said that they swindled you. What happened?
They told me that I should go out and he basically tells you that they told him to go buy a specific object from the marketplace, a very expensive piece of art from a specific stall, and that if he did that, fate and luck and wishes would help him secure the loan from his bank.
Gotcha. How many wish points would it be to build him a barn, out of curiosity?
Depends on how big the barn is.
She says, tell me about this barn.
Oh, I already took care of it, Hero says, with my cut from some of the treasure. So, that's all taken care of. You're going to see One Wheel sort of look gratefully towards Hero, and Hero sort of like gives him a shake of the shoulder. Anyway, but tell her what you were telling me about when they left. One Wheel says, oh yeah, the one that looked like you turned to me and said, if this doesn't go well, you just have to find me in the city, okay? My name is Juniper.
Just the ever so slightest of a twitch on her face.
But the way she said it was weird, right? Like she knew something was wrong.
Like she gave you bad advice and was telling you to go find me.
Hero is going to say, I was wondering, do you think maybe they were, I don't know, trying to get you to talk? Trying to have you go after them?
It's possible. Although it's a little smarter than what they would usually pull off.
Well, that's why I was thinking about that thing, right? Maybe they're working with someone.
Yes. That is unfortunately sounding likely. Thank you very much for telling me this, One Wheel.
No problem, he says.
It's your birthday this month, yes?
Yeah, today, he says.
Happy birthday.
Hero says, he's a target.
He's a what?
Target.
Does she know what that means?
It's gonna be tough. Roll a wisdom check. DC like 16.
On.
A target, knowing it from the meek, what little they've kind of kept of the slang of where they come from. A target is somebody whose birthday falls on the day of the birthday celebration. It's a special place of honor.
Gotcha.
They sort of like randomly choose the day, and if you fall directly on it, you're the target.
Oh.
And you get like an extra gift.
Gotcha. Well, if that's the case, do you have any wishes?
His eyes open crazy wide. His ears sort of like move up like a dog. And he's going to say, oh, geez, oh, golly. Wow. I should dance, he says. Wait, we should dance.
She actually
suddenly,
tries to get them to stop. She
Everyone
goes,
was immediately ready for it. And they all immediately break out into the meek dance.
June puts on her very polite face
you
as
did
she
it to
sits and
yourself.
listens to it.
Did it to yourself.
Well, she was trying to be nice.
See what you get when you're nice.
Yep.
So, One Wheel, Hero's mom, and Hero all have a different dance than everybody else. But Hero doesn't do it. He's kind of like, and it's already too late. They're already gone.
Yep. June just kind of does the...
You see from Is Healthy and One Wheel the sort of Irish river dance style of the like country Gatheran meeks. And you see from in here more of like a Russian jig style of like the Girin meek.
Gotcha.
So there's just like stomping feet everywhere. Everybody's
I'm gonna get kicked by accident.
and you're seeing doesn't understand is doing like a ballet pirouette.
She lets it go through, and then she does the obligatory glitter explosion, and Now, as we were saying,
Okay, I've got something. Can I whisper it to you?
she leans close.
I wish for Hero to come back safe.
That is a very different kind of wish, One Wheel. But I will do my very best to make sure it comes true.
He nods.
And it's a very admirable wish as well.
Don't tell anybody, okay?
She pats him on the back. Our secret. I'm good at those.
He thinks about it.
If all else fails, she's going to ask him what his favorite food is. Or her favorite dessert, or drink, or whatever.
Okay, I got one. He leans in. Could I get a kiss on the forehead?
I suppose that will be acceptable. She
Alright.
leans forward and she kisses him gently on the forehead.
He sort of like, like swoons. You're gonna see the other Meek like, whoa, whoa. Doesn't understand, goes, they're married!
I love these guys.
Yes.
Can they come with us?
I know, right? Just bring him aboard. It's fine. We'll take care of him. I promise.
Get out of here! Yells at birds, screams at the ducks waddling by.
What's Hero's reaction?
He's like, ugh, I was trying to hide this from you all. I failed so miserably.
Why?
You're gonna see him like exasperated at the level of just like wanton chaos happening around. He was hoping that it would be like a delightful, pleasant dinner.
June actually seems to be getting into it more, like as opposed to before where she was just being polite and kind of sitting there. She
Okay.
seems to be enjoying herself.
So as you look back at him, he's gonna be like, sorry.
Don't be. This has probably been the most enjoyable evening I've had in the past week or so.
Okay, he says. Good. Dinner is served, you hear. Back at the Citadel. The two of you have drunk probably 8 samplings of tea. Each one unique, many you liked, maybe 1 or 2 you didn't. Dom is going to explain that at this point there is a sort of resting break where you all eat sweets. He is going to pull out 2 large scones and place them down in front of you. And you see that these scones are quite unique and that they have gem-like structures embedded into the soft cake. He says, "These are an old recipe of my grandma's. You're going to have to forgive that I haven't baked them in a few years. I hope they came out okay," he says, as he pushes the plates towards you. He says, "Those are actually specialized creamed berries. I had to do a little work on them to get them to look right." As you place a fork or a knife against the hardened gemstone-like objects embedded in it, to give it a look like the Queen's most royalist scone, you're going to see that they're actually quite soft and give way and have a juicy interior. As you take a bite, Dom is going to sort of like be eyeing Prongor, and you gain the sense that he mildly wishes that Prongor wasn't here for what he is about to say next. But he pushes forward anyway with it. "I have to admit," he says, "the whole thing about this tea ceremony was a plot between me and Hero.
I expected the plot from you, Dom, but not from Hero.
Hero shared concerns with me that he had a birthday celebration today for his family, and he wanted only to invite one member from the group. And Juniper has some manner of mental blockade that prevents the Meeks from being overwhelmed by her presence. So he,
empathy.
in part, asked me to occupy you two while they went to the birthday. But I was more than glad of the opportunity to engage you two in what I consider a good time, he says, a bit embarrassed. You gain the sense that Dom would never share this softer side of Dom with anybody else. Probably his hesitation with Prongor being here. But there's more to this than that. I wanted to tell you two that I've made a decision.
What sort of decision?
He looks over at Isaac. When we had those drinks back in Bridgewalk, we talked about our pasts, he says. That neither of us had a very glowing path on the way here. And I know that you feel much the same about your own story. I have decided I don't want to hunt the whale. As long as I can avoid it, I will.
Why?
Because I have a history of taking the easy way out, of killing when it was convenient. And I don't want that to be my future.
You're afraid of what you might become in pursuit of it?
While we engage the whale, it's done me no personal wrong. The only reason I would kill it would be to fulfill some sense of destiny. And I don't want to be that man anymore. If I am forced by some act of fate, then so be it. But I thought that perhaps, with fate's weakening currently, I might slip through the cracks on this one. Maybe it will happen, but I hope it won't. So that I can convince myself that I have changed. He looks over towards Isaac, sort of to gain his thoughts. What does he look like?
Isaac's smiling. He's beaming at this, and Isaac kind of puts out his hand as if he's expecting a handshake from him. Does he give me his hand?
He does.
Okay.
He gives you a
And
firm
Isaac
shake.
He takes his other hand and kind of clasps his hand between his and says,
Dom, I think that's the most admirable thing I've heard since we've started this journey. I'm proud of you.
That means a great deal to me. I consider you my dear friends, he says. That's why, he says, sort of righting himself and moving over towards the tea station. That's why I want to share this with you. He's going to pick up the package of his specialty. I have not seen it for nigh 2 decades, he says. Not outside of Pendulum, certainly. This is King's tea, he says.
Why is it called King's Tea?
Well, many reasons, he says, coming back over with the history lesson.
Euphemia is used to sitting there and listening to the history lessons.
It was made, perhaps, they say 6,000 years ago, by a former king of Pendulum. A great king, perhaps one of the greatest. The one who formed the fortress that makes Pendulum today. That king commissioned art and sent that art out into the world and made Pendulum's stamp in an age where the world needed that sort of thing. And he loved tea. He commissioned the greatest tea maker in the whole world, at least for the time, to make this tea. Jennifer,
Was it
roll a
secretly
d20,
June?
and if you get a 10 or above,
It was
you
secretly
made this
June.
tea.
I knew it. I freaking knew it.
I made the tea.
As soon as he
I was in the
said,
middle of saying June 100%
Yep.
made that tea.
yep. As soon as he said the greatest tea maker, I was like, oh, it was June in disguise. All right.
He says, costs a king's ransom. And it's said that it has diamond dust. It was originally mixed and then taken out of the mixture with magic. And it left this sparkling glow within the tea, he says.
It's not real diamond dust.
It was believed at the time that diamonds were able to be used in a magical ritual to bring the dead back to life. It turned out not to be true, but it was thought that this tea might be drunk by royalty, and you wouldn't need the diamond at the end, he says. Anyway, that's the history. And normally it costs an arm and a leg. But I found a unique vendor here in the city who happened to have some, he says.
Oh no. Oh, I hope it's real.
Oh God, are we gonna be poisoned?
No, I'm thinking about poor one meal. Okay, sorry. I'm not there, Gal.
He says, I had it once when I was very small. My father hit a windfall, and he spent his money wisely in investments, and part of it went into this. And he sat me down and explained the whole ceremony, made me learn it with disciplined structure. And I'm going to perform it here, he says. So give me just a moment. He heads back over. So there's like it's like a 2-room suite, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to head into the other room, and sort of you hear the clattering of like pots and tea kettles and stuff like that. Prongor's going to turn and say, "Diamond dust, master. Must be very valuable."
Partaking in this will be quite a treat. I hope you savor this, Prongor.
He says, "Oh, I'm going to get some," he says, surprised. He looks around for a teacup for himself.
Isaac says,
What'd you say?
what I mean is that if you do, don't down it all in one gulp. Watch me. Match my pace. Take sips.
You're very wise, master. You know that patience is not one of my disciplines," he
Right,
says.
so just mimic me, and you'll do just fine.
He says, "I will try my very best, master, but you know that I am not the man of sorts to be able to mimic you properly."
Isaac's going to lean over to Euphemia and say, what merchant do you think he got that from?
I have no idea, she says. Dom is always one to find the right place and the right price for something, though.
Can Isaac, with his knowledge of both upscale and shady places to buy things, could he roll to see if he could think of where he would get it?
I'm going to say no, because Isaac doesn't know about the tea market, does he?
That's true. Okay.
Also, you're not a Garen native, sir.
You're right, I'm not.
Meanwhile, back at Hero's aunt's house, the door is suddenly going to open, and you're going to hear startled gasps. As the family is headed to dinner, you're going to see might be a godmother in the doorway.
June smiles.
Uncle to Hero, right?
Yes.
Uncle? You hear. And, hi, everyone, he says. So he has mostly Hero's coloring, if a little darker. And he stands maybe an inch shorter than Hero does. But you're going to see, basically, like, in order, the three triplets gasp, one after the other. And he's going to walk in, and might be a hero? Doesn't understand, says, towards might be a godmother. Is healthy, is going to come out. What are you doing here? I was invited, he says, looking towards Long Ears and Hero. Hero's going to sort of step forward and pull him in. Long Ears is going to... I thought you'd be here earlier, she says. Sorry, I was busy.
She does the slightest quirk of an eyebrow, but only he would see it.
He's going to look over towards you. Greetings, he says.
Greetings.
Oh, right, Hero says. He's going to turn towards you. Jennifer, this is... might be a godmother.
Might be a godmother. Interesting.
He's going to kind of like
She
shrug
just gives him
awkwardly.
a vaguely mischievous smile that only he would be able to interpret. Although Hero might be able to read that too.
You're going to get a strange sense that there is a lot happening underneath.
Oh, I'm sure.
You're also going to get is healthy is going to come towards him, and you're going to see sort of in the periphery of your vision as she's like gonna like wink at him like suggestively and like nod towards you. So, the Meek family believes that the uncle might be a godmother is a failure of his fate. That he is not a godmother, in fact. Of course, he is keeping that secret on your behalf and has been working as a godmother in Garen for years. In fact, is a very important godmother here in the city. And because of his secret duties to the godmothers, has been required to stay away from his family, becoming a lone wolf of a Meek, unable to commune with them very often. However, at this particular birthday party, he has arrived, and the group is going to awkwardly shuffle the dinner. You're going to see Is Early get his hand slapped as he reaches for the chicken before prayer is said. And you're going to see a
Oh yeah, I forgot
picture of Mazrian
that. Yep.
Yeah,
above the
right.
stoop of the dining room.
Actually, the first time she sees it, June actually pales as she remembers. Like, she's been actively thinking about other things to make sure she doesn't, think about it. I mean, clearly she remembers it at all points in time, but she's been thinking about other things to occupy her brain.
You're going to see Hero also looks like the moment he sees it, and is going to like put on a false like smile and like sit down, and then like his eyes keep glancing to his mom.
Yeah, she has a vaguely sick look on her face, and then she clears it up.
Dear Mazrian, you are always watching, taking care of us, bringing Hero back to home. Thank you for bringing us this wonderful gift of the godmother Juniper and my good brother. Might be a godmother. She says a little suggestively, like she's going to give you a hint or something. Without you, we would be lost. Guide us. And the prayer ends.
She did not do that well on her deception check to hide her sick feeling
You're
while
like-
that prayer was going on.
Yeah,
No,
not
she
like
just She looks kind of green.
With that, meek hands are suddenly flurrying over the table, grabbing delicious food and shoving it on their plates and in their mouths.
Did they bring out the dessert already as well? Or that's not allowed?
You see the pies are sitting over on like a little dessert separate area cooling. And the smells are sort of mingling with the savory dinner.
Is there anything is there like a sweet potato casserole with, like marshmallows and stuff on it?
Yeah.
You said it was like Thanksgiving, so
Yeah, it's like that.
June goes for that. She actually just kind of reaches her finger out and goes like this, and just kind of, it's on the other end of the table, so she just kind of goes like that, and a blob of it just comes out and then plops on her plate.
Does she just eat the marshmallows off of it?
Maybe.
That would be rude.
Well, she does, she makes sure that there's lots of the syrup as well, and then she only scooped most of the top part.
So, Might, she says towards might be a godmother, how is shepherding going? Yeah, the goats, they're a little unruly these days. It's pretty hot, he says. And your new crook, how's that working? Great. Yeah, excellent. Really great at grabbing those goats around the leg.
She taps her beetle, and it kind of appears under the table. She does it, and then she pulls out a cup that's overflowing with sweets as well, and she kind of puts it back.
Okay. I love lambs, doesn't understand says. Everything's excellent, Muss Whisper says. You're going to see Long Ears turn towards you. So, you and Hero have been on a very exciting journey. Would you like to regale us with the tale? She says. Hero's gonna look across the table towards you.
She smiles and says, perhaps a
journey?
slightly abbreviated one.
Godmother's gonna feign oh, a journey?
She will then very politely explain, yes, Hero and I were called by fate to go on a journey together.
Wow, who knew?
Her eye twitches. She's like, wow, act better. She acts as though she doesn't know.
Yeah.
You're gonna see Long Ears place her hand on him, and she says, "It's okay. You don't have to be so nervous. Sorry, just haven't been with the family for a long time." He says.
I take it work keeps you away often. I'm sorry to hear that. Perhaps
Yeah.
things can change over time.
Well, being stationed out by the Halfling Hills.
Ah, yes, commutes. I understand that.
Yeah, boss.
He nods.
Sorry.
Right. Well, we all have our duties. He says.
June will give a sanitized but more fun version of the tales, focusing on the more exciting, less battle-ridden areas, more like the sights that we've seen. She talks about the locks and going along those. She talks about seeing the bridges and bridge walk. She talks about riding those beetles.
You mean advantage persuasion check?
20.
You have them hypnotized.
She is also including illusions over the sky that are surrounded in these lovely sparkles.
For the remainder of dinner, you captivate the Meeks. Their little eyes reflect the lights of your illusions that dance in the air before them.
She will actually include all of them in there, asking questions on things they want to see. She is quite good at handling a room.
When dinner is over, the Meeks are going to clear out, and as one of the birthday guests, you instead get to relax in the recliner that you were sitting in earlier.
By this point, she is maybe a foot taller than the Meek.
They're about to do presents when Long Ears is going to approach you. She sort of looks around, like, to see if there's anybody in earshot. There isn't. She comes forward. Godmother Juniper.
Long years.
She, like, smiles that you remember her name. She's like, ooh. She goes, I wanted to make sure your story of what you and Hero are doing is incredible. And I'm very proud of him, but you haven't had any trouble with him, have you?
I assume you're referring to his abilities. No.
Wonderful.
But we are aware, and it's not a trouble.
Right, not for you, of course, she says.
I imagine it can be difficult considering everyone can feel what the others feel and pick up everything.
I don't know what all he's told you. Hero's empathy is one of the strongest of any meek. When he was born, he began to make his parents cry whenever he would feel sad. And we required the whole family to take care of him through it. When he was a teenager, Hero was difficult and a bit mean to his brother. He hurt him.
Out of game, what was his brother's name again?
Makes monsters.
Thank you. Wasn't he like really big?
No, he's very small.
Was there another one that was really big? Is big.
Is big. Is very
Okay,
big.
never mind. Never mind. Out of game. Sorry. Continuing.
Hero had a cruel streak and would unleash his anger at his brother. His brother began to retaliate. Makes monsters went too far one day. He made a creature that Hero couldn't handle, and it attacked the village. The elders banished him into the woods. After that,
She actually holds up her hand. I think I will wait for Hero to tell me this tale.
I don't know if he'll ever do that.
I think you're doing him a disservice. Hero is very dear to us. All of us.
She looks like she's like shocked. She goes, is he?
Yes. He is our companion, our friend. I would do the same for him as I would do any in the group.
Incredible. Godmothers really are merciful.
It has nothing to do with mercy or being a godmother.
I am confused.
I admit, my viewpoints on the world are very different than most. I dislike how meeks are often treated and beheld. I do not believe it is right, and I have made it my point in life to never act that way if I can.
I knew just from looking at you that you were an enlightened sort, she says. And Hero said you were very wise. But I never dreamed that you would be so gracious.
I believe that anyone in our group would behave the same way.
Hero
She
is-
actually pauses. She goes, well, the main group at least.
Hero has become a very special man.
I think he always was.
You tell him.
Thank you.
Hero is an incredibly valuable member of our party. He holds a very specific place and job, and I do not believe we would succeed if he was not there. So I want to let Hero tell me his tales and his stories when he's ready to tell me.
You see through the crack in the kitchen door, might be a godmother, seems to be embracing his sister as healthy in a way that suggests some manner of reconciliation. You see Hero is going to open up the door, and he says something to you, but you almost don't hear it, because there's a strange sensation that hits you, coming from everywhere around you. Something like darkness, shadow realm.
June's face goes very pale.
You hear a ringing in your ears. You hear from the kitchen, I thought the sun was down already.
Do I get anything more from the darkness? Like, is it saying anything? Do I get a feeling, emotion, anything like that?
Danger.
June is suddenly standing, and she was there. She was about their height by this point, and she's suddenly towering over everyone.
Isaac, you suddenly feel a rattle from the staff, and you see the sin stone begin to glow.
Is Dom back yet with the tea?
You can hear him clattering around inside. You can hear him humming lightly to himself.
Isaac will look at Yuffie and say, "Pardon me, one moment." And he's going to kind of like hustle away to where he can speak to the staff in private.
Okay. You're going to
he's
see
gonna
Isaac
activate this-
leave the room and head out into the hallway.
He's going to activate the staff and say, "What is it?"
All right. An annoying servant is out cleaning the hallway, so you need to kind of hustle around the corner, probably
Okay.
maybe a couple dozen yards from the room.
To
But
save time, can I roll intimidate to just like shoot a glare at the servant to make them go away?
yes, you can. Go ahead. DC 14.
16.
Okay. As you shoot a glance at the servant's going to kind of like look over towards you, and their eyes sort of widen, and they like quickly scooch off down the hallway, like rushing as fast as they can away with the walk.
All right, good. I activate the staff. I'm like, tell me what's going on and be quick.
All right. Who do you ask?
Asher.
Asher says, a surge of necromantic energy has hit the city to the south. An extremely powerful explosion of magic. Something that only an entity of enormous might could perform.
How far? What direction?
He says, southeast. And he says, probably like 15 minutes distance from where you are.
In my mental map, can I try and place where that is?
Yeah, that's like between Old Town and New Town.
Okay.
Yeah, like right
Isaac
here.
deactivates the staff, rushes back into the room.
All right, hang on. Inside the room, Yuffie, you are going to watch Isaac leave, and Prongor's like, but he's going to sort of sit down and then like looks over towards you. This tea ceremony certainly does take a long time to prepare, he says, sort of conversationally.
I think that's part of the point of it.
Well, we should do a little show for us, perhaps.
He does a pretty good jig when he's... And she mimes, like, drunk.
That's delightful. I will cherish that thought, he says. You are suddenly going to hear from inside the room that Dom was prepping. Something falls and shatters on the ground. And you hear a...
Euphemia will get up and make a movement towards Dom.
you are going to look inside the room, and you will see Dom convulsing on the floor. A teacup shattered next to him, and the table has been... He's like grabbing onto the table leg, trying to pull himself somewhere, but seems to be doing nothing.
Euphemia will yell back at Prongor, "Get Isaac! He's sick!" She'll rush towards him. Does he seem like he's choking or like something has poisoned him?
You look down and see a fallen teacup, shattered mostly, but what remains of the saucer has a bit of golden sparkling tea remaining in it.
Did anybody else drink it?
Not yet, I don't think. Wasn't he preparing it for us?
I don't know what time happened yet.
Isaac, Prongor moves swiftly towards you. "Master, there is a problem. Stop," he says, with force.
Okay. Isaac starts running with Prongor back to wherever he's leading him to.
As you move towards him, Dom, seemingly unable to speak, his face is turning first, his forehead's very red, but his neck is extremely pale. And he is choking, and he points up towards the little tin of tea, just with his finger trembling towards it.
Euphemia will look him in the eye and say, "Trust me," and immediately stick her hand in to try to pull out the poison.
Roll a Constitution saving throw. You are burned by acid.
Worth it. Damn.
Inspiration.
DC
Can't.
14.
Maybe.
It's an 8 and then plus my con.
There's no chance.
There's
You
no
have
way.
Plus 6.
Yeah. Nope.
As you reach in, you suddenly feel whatever is in Dom eat at you. You pull out your hand and it is burning. Your fingernail is gone.
Euphemia won't even hesitate to. Is it too burned to is the glove burned or is it?
The
Oh, the glove got eaten, didn't it? No.
the glove has survived barely. It's thread.
It's still technically a glove, right?
It is still technically a glove.
Do it.
She won't even hesitate. She'll immediately attempt.
All right. Isaac, you step in the room and immediately see Dom on the floor in agony. Yuffie, you take 11 points of acid damage.
Okay.
When I walk in, do I see Yuffie going again for another
Yep.
reach-in? Or not?
As you reach into him, Dom is going to convulse. And as he does, his hand slaps the leg of the table, and the tea is going to fall off the edge. And it lands on the ground and scatters crystalline across the floor. And you're going to see a piece of paper roll out from the very bottom of the tea. And as it does, you're going to see it begins to burn away at itself. And you're going to see it casts into the air little lights. They're going to form up into a person. Kelrock.
Euphemia, he says. They told me not to send you a message with the tea. But I'll admit, I couldn't resist. Give Dom my greetings. And remember, this is just another lesson.
Euphemia paused to watch for a brief moment and immediately refocused on Dom while Kelrock was still talking.
It's still your go. What do you do?
She's using inspiration. She's going to try to get it out of him.
All right, roll Constitution saving throw.
She does not care if it burns her arm off. Double 17s? What happened there?
Dang.
It really wanted
19.
it.
All right. You reach inside.
Oh my god, please do not let Dom die.
Okay. I'm going to roll these dice in front of you. If I roll both of them. Wait, I have the numbers. Hang on. Let me make sure.
You have blessing guidance on you. Just
I
keep that in mind.
do. Can I
Yes.
roll for?
What I was trying to say earlier is that when Isaac ran into the room and when you go for the second try, Isaac doesn't know what you're doing, but he puts those on you because he knows this needs to work.
That would make sense. Can she roll that?
Okay. Dom needs to roll 15 or above. If I roll a 10 or below on both of these dice, Dom's dead.
Can I ask a question really quick?
Yeah.
Since she's supposed to have blessing guidance on it, can she roll them? And if she gets over a certain thing, does it change anything?
Sorry.
So this is before the second reach in.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
I'm not even close enough to like try and do clerical things, right?
You are not. Not at this
Okay.
moment. Would you like to roll, or shall I?
No, I don't want to touch it.
She doesn't want that pressure.
All right.
I
We
rolled
have to blame
terribly for
you.
myself.
We have to blame you for
Yeah,
this.
let us blame you, Daniel. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
By
For
the
God's
time,
sakes, guys, I can't see the dice. Tell me what they were.
Double sevens.
by the time you reach back in,
Can she give him her inspiration?
no, I already rolled with advantage. You feel nothing left of what Dom was. Dom is dead.
Euphemia pulls her hand out slowly. I didn't even get to tell you how proud I was of you. She looks at Isaac. Can you do something?
Isaac rushes over to his side and kneels down on the floor and kind of takes Dom's head in one hand and starts checking him over.
As you press on Dom's stomach, your fingers, trained in the clerical arts, can tell that his organs are liquid. A unique poison talked about a long time ago in your clerical classes called dwarf mud. Because dwarves are so resilient to poison, this one quadruples the amount of acid in their stomach when it touches it, burning them to death from inside. A terrible way to die. Extraordinarily expensive.
Isaac, looking down at him, begins to say a litany and closes Dom's eyes and gently lays his head back down.
Euphemia takes that as the confirmation she did not want.
Isaac puts his hand on Euphemia's shoulder and says, "I'm so sorry."
She leans her head down and puts it against Dom's forehead. It's been a long time since anyone reminded me that we're more than our fates. I'm sorry. And she leans back. This was to get at me. This was all just to fuck with me.
The paper that the message was on is burned away.
After a moment, Isaac's going to say, "I heard that voice. Was this from who I think it was?"
Yes.
not going to let him get away with this. I
Euphemia
promise you.
starts to stand up. And she'll look at you, Isaac, and her eyes look like they are lit with something burning. No, he is not going to get away with this. He's forgotten the
Isaac's-
monster I can be. But I never did. Can you just leave me here a minute, and we need to prepare him
Of
for...
course. Isaac's going to kneel one more time and cast Gentle Repose on his body. And then he's going to stand up and quietly leave the room.
Prongor follows. Juniper. Looking out the window, you see a bright light, but not in the direction that the sun should be. It's towards the graveyard. You hear screams outside.
How many wish points would it be to be able to see that far? Like, as though her vision, so it's binocular vision directly towards it.
I'll just do 1 point.
Okay. She's gonna do that.
Okay.
She's, like I said, she's suddenly towering over the group of meek, and her eyes just zoom in directly in that direction. It's almost like a dark purple with sparkly bits start falling out of her eyes as her eyes start glowing.
You see a horde of undead meek swarming out of the graveyard. And you see a bright sunlight.
Different graveyard. Okay. Totally thought we were talking about the boneyards. And I had a bit of a heart attack.
Not the boneyards, thank God.
Okay. Still awful, but...
You see the bright green glow is coming from this structure. It is a sarcophagus in the midst of the graveyard to a rich individual, probably a rich meek.
Hero. Her voice, like, it's very quiet, but it, like, basically vibrates through the room. So even though it's barely said, everyone hears her say that.
All right. Hero is going to look towards you. What is it?
I'm going to need your help.
All right. The two of you rush outside.
She actually pauses, looks back. Her eyes will meet God's, and she nods very slightly. It's obvious she's saying, protect them.
As you walk outside,
Got it.
you see
Got it.
a horde of dozens of undead meek, along with a select number of other individuals that are slightly taller.
She says to the group before she exits, close the doors and lock them. No one come out.
Place yourself anywhere around the house, please.
Oh, that's a lot of enemies.
And Jennifer, the moment you step out, you get time to cast one spell before the undead get to move.
I think I'm probably gonna pull off a fireball right in the middle, but let me just check my spells really quick. Hang on.
All right.
Which one was Hero's family's house? That one?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's Hero and Jennifer, and a bunch of meeks running away, and a whole line of undead.
I need to ask you a question.
Yeah, hit me up.
Would you be angry if I used the wish spell to use sunlight?
Sunlight? I don't know what that
Or
spell
not like
does.
the spell I used on the ziggurat.
I don't remember what that is. It sunburst?
Yeah.
Let me see what it does. It might not be completely feasible in this case.
It might be too big. That's fair.
Yeah, don't burn all the meek alive in their houses. That seems like a...
I'm
Bad
pretty
end.
sure it happens in a sphere. In which
Sunburst.
case I can just kind of like plop it down like a sunball, like right in the center over there.
So you'll kill every meek in the whole area.
Even if I put it in the air?
Well, you won't hit them then.
Well, you mean you could just dip part of it down.
So it's a 60-foot radius flash centered on a point within range. So it's basically a square.
Radius. It's a sphere.
Okay, it's a sphere. So
So if I like stick it in the air,
yeah, I see what you're saying. Like it would sphere down onto a specific point
yeah,
and like
so
avoid
I could
others.
probably shear off like right there, because they happen to be in a circle, which is where I was going with that.
I see what you're saying.
I'd imagine June has probably done that with fireballs before.
Yes, and that's actually what I would do with a fireball if it was in a smaller circumstance, but I'm just checking to see if I'm allowed.
I will allow that, yeah. However, I'm going to make you make an intelligence check so that Juniper correctly calculates the angle that the spell needs to be in order to hit the maximum amount of guys.
Okay.
All right, so if you roll above a 20, it's going to hit every undead. If you roll 15 or up, but not quite over 20, it's going to hit like a large swath of like 5 inches of undead. And if you roll below that, you're going to hit some meek in the process.
Here.
Inspiration.
Could you remind me what level spell that is, please?
8.
Turn mine
It is an
into.
8? Okay.
I used it before.
That's fine. I feel like that's okay. And it would also take out that ziggurat, yes?
It says each creature, so I won't do anything to the ziggurat.
Okay.
Ooh, it dispels magical darkness. I didn't know that.
Oh, speaking of which, when you step outside, you look and there is some manner of great sphere, like a huge wall of force over the entire sector. You recognize there is a tinge that suggests that you have somehow been dragged slightly into the Shadow Realm.
Are they?
All of
So they're
this
all
whole
getting
sector.
corrupted.
Correct.
Oh dear. So would my sphere hit that?
You think that the effects of the sunburst would temporarily subside the Shadow Realm's power over this area and give you a little more time to work with, but it wouldn't nullify it.
Okay. All right. Here comes my int check.
All right, good luck.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right, so all of the undead are going to roll. We're going to make big con saves here for the undead.
Don't forget they have disadvantage.
Undead and oozes have disadvantage on the saving throw.
Yes,
What a
they
spell.
That's kind of why I chose it.
So smart. Okay, so they're all hit. All right, so they have 22 hit points,
I feel like I'm.
and their con save is plus 3. So what is your spell save?
18.
Okay. Holy crap, I've never rolled so many 2s in my life.
Yay!
Okay, so go ahead and you get full damage on all of them.
Remind me how much the damage is, please.
Sunburst is 12 d6s. Here's a bunch of d6s. This is 7. No, this is 8.
How many do you need?
Here's 8 more.
I have a ton too.
Sir,
Hang on, I've got some here too.
just take these. It's
5.
fast. This is. I think that should be 12.
7,
8, 9, 10, 11, and
Oh.
12. One extra.
One, two extra.
I mean, I'll keep it if you want.
No.
Wait,
And-
actually, give it back. I'm going to trade out this teeny tiny goofy dice.
Okay.
Because it's teeny tiny
So
goofy.
it's 22 minimum to kill the undead, and it's 40 to kill the wolves.
Do us a favor, love. I want the lid. Thank you.
For dice roll.
Because let's not make a giant mess.
Right. Good luck.
Alright, here we go.
Wish me luck. Good luck. You can do it.
Ooh,
Wow.
man, those are great rolls.
Wow!
Holy
okay,
crap, that's
hold
excellent.
on.
It's like all 5s and 6s.
There's a single 4. No, 2 4s.
So 24. That's 44. No, that's 5, so I can count. So it's over 40.
Over 40.
Yes.
Okay.
By a bit.
All right. So, as describe how Juniper summons this incredible spell to burn away the undead that are assaulting the sector.
June had just turned from saying, "Nobody come outside, lock the doors, close the windows." And then she turns around, her eyes widen as she realizes that we're partially in the shadow realm. And she goes, "Hero, close your eyes."
He looks at you a little startled and then nods and
She-
shuts his eyes tight.
Lifts her arms up above her head, and she casts the highest level spell he's ever seen, heard, I guess in this case, her use. And she goes, give me a second as I remember the dragon's name.
Sumsol.
Yes. Sumsol, I'm going to have to borrow the sun.
So the meek are screaming and running, and you see one of them, a little girl meek, is going to trip as like a zombie meek rushes towards her. And then suddenly this brilliant burst of light shines across the entire district. And you're going to see the undead just are fried
For a
away.
very brief moment, flavorfully speaking, of course, the sun, which was over there, stopped being there and teleported right there.
Okay, so from below the horizon, since it's evening, the sun is going to shine its brilliance on this particular area. Heroes ah, everyone's ah, and they run away.
You're going to see that from where you guys are, as the literal sun is now currently in the city.
Isaac, from your window viewpoint at the Citadel, you are going to see what looks to be a shaded, brilliant explosion of light far off in the city at this moment.
I see it about where I detected the necromancy, right?
Yes. However, with the explosion, the Sin Stone is going to alight with power. As though a great...
56 damage.
The undead are dusted, disintegrated on the spot.
What did you say happened to the Sunstone?
You feel a power, a dark, wicked power rise to meet it.
Okay.
Juniper, as the undead are annihilated from this world, you're going to see the meek sort of like they're running, but one or two of them sort of stop and look back.
June shouts, "Get in your houses!"
You're going to see that green light coming from the sarcophagus is going to begin to shine out 10 times more brilliantly. After the light of your spell dims, you're vaguely going to see distantly, farther in the graveyard, other zombies are beginning to climb out of their graves. But they're distant, and you have more than enough time to get these meek out of here.
And did I get rid of the thing for a short time?
You see that the haze has gone from a dark midnight to almost a purplish violet hue in the air, and you can very clearly see the separation between your world, this current sector, and everything else. There's like a haze that like distorts the outside world, like you're in a glass shell. And you are suddenly going to see behind you. Greetings.
Zentos.
Yes, the gnome
Zentos?
Zentos.
Okay.
Zento.
Zento. Thank you. I was like, it's not Mentos.
He's not the freshman here.
Sorry. Okay.
Hero's gonna like turn around. King Zento? Emperor Zento, please. Yes. What seems to be happening?
I believe that prophecy that you had is about to come true in a very unfortunate location.
He says, unfortunate? This is quite fortunate, he says. And he's going to look towards that area. I thought I had a feeling about coming here. Hero's gonna like look between the two of you like, what? Huh? What's happening right now?
Wasn't he aware of what the prophecy he said he had to do? Did he not know?
Yeah, but the idea that it is here and now is not particularly explained to Hero. Or at least the thought that it might be.
Gotcha.
The sarcophagus is going to blow wide open. And in its place,
Oh, come on. Freaking great unclean one.
a massive, horrifying creature of darkness.
Yes, it is. Is that like one of the...
It appears to be a creature of elder darkness.
So it's one of the controllers, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Oh, dear.
The creature bursts forth from the temple as you see the undead near it begin to rise also.
It's like the worst week ever.
We've really had a tough week.
Jennifer,
Yep.
roll initiative.
I don't want to. Initiative sucks. It always sucks. There's no good to initiative. It only leads to bad. That's my sheet. I was right.
Yep.
Told you I was right.
Yep.
7, 8. 8. There's a plus.
+1.
I'll take my +1. I'll take it and run.
You said 8?
Yes.
All right. Hero goes on a 15. The creature goes on a 19. Zento goes before the creature. Excellent.
Good job, Zento.
All right.
Very fresh.
It is
and full
fresh
of life.
and full of life.
It is.
Let's not do that anymore.
It appears as though my feelings drawing me here were correct, he says. Well, if this is the time, then so be it, he says, looking towards you with confidence. And then he is going to race towards the beast. Jennifer,
Please
roll
don't die.
a history check.
Xanthos is the gnome king, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
25.
Jamie, you mind moving him that far towards the creature?
So you're
That
in
far.
front of him.
Basically, right.
So right next to him.
Yeah, like right up in there. Okay.
Gets up on his grill.
What did you roll for history?
25.
You don't recognize this creature from life, but you have read about it. It is a monstrous creature of elder darkness, gifted with powers of undeath and psionics. It is the creator of the Alari,
Remind me who the Olari are.
mind flayers, the elders.
I don't like it. Actually, I love mind flares, but that's a personal choice, not a June choice.
You know that it
because
is
you wanna be
called.
one.
I know, right? I would love to play one.
I know you want to be
Oh,
one.
sorry. That wall. I don't have enough tiles to make a full wall, but that wall is there. The only way in is the gate.
Oh, you want me to leave it there and he went through the gate? Or, I mean,
No, he's got to go around.
okay,
He's got to go through the gate where it was.
okay, sorry.
No problem.
Oh, I think it was like right. It's all like there. And he was on the other side. Was that right?
Yeah, but scoot him over. So he's not quite there yet.
Scoot him like.
Scoot him like in front of the gate.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. This creature's name is Vorast, the ever hungering.
That makes sense.
What it hungers for most is minds.
Mm.
What are they called? What are the mind flayers called again?
Hmm?
Illidari?
Ilari.
Spell it.
Illari. Or the elders, as they call themselves. Something doesn't make any sense, though. This creature cannot just burst into Garen. There would have to be incredible spell work in order to prepare a path for this creature to enter here, especially in reality as it is.
And you cannot tell me that June didn't feel that.
That might have been that sinking darkness feeling that you had in the house. You think there's another force at work here.
I mean, obviously, considering what happened in the castle.
The moment that this I have forgotten to tell something. So there have been lasers blasting against the barrier the whole time. But
What
when your
about when I-
sunburst hit, that revealed these like shots.
Did they come through at that point?
No.
Are they the
It's
guardian?
there's some kind
gargoyles,
of
probably?
barrier, but it does appear to be weakening,
Good.
especially with your sunburst. That has done significant damage to the structure. And you also see there is another powerful force that appears to be hitting the barrier back at the entranceway that you and Hero came in the district.
Is it Harper?
No, you don't believe so.
See, this is why Harper should have come to the darn party. Stop being such a party pooper. Just saying.
All right, it is the creature. All right. As Zento, you're going to see him rush forward boldly. He moves fast on his feet and dashes up as a noble hero from the stories would through the gate and stands before the creature stoically, ready for battle. The beast, however, this disgusting, filthy stink is going to roil off its body, and you see him like put up his hand to his nose. The creature is going to turn towards him, and you see it. It reaches out, and the mouth on its arm begins to chant a spell as its fingers grab onto reality and begin to twist it into a hex.
I'm pretty sure I'm farther than 60 feet away, yes?
For sure.
Thought so.
All right. Its hand becomes black, and it rushes forward to touch Zento. You recognize the spell Contagion.
Oh.
God, I have lesser restoration. I'm pretty sure that takes care of that sort of thing, right?
Ooh, I have that spell.
Yeah, it's a priest spell and also druid. But that is the one, right? That takes care of diseases and whatnot.
Oh no, I'm saying I have contagion.
Oh, I'm asking about lesser restoration. It's
Lesser restoration does do. That's the one that takes care of poison.
okay.
All right.
But does it
Zento
take
is
care of
going.
disease?
Go ahead and move Vorath
I can't
up
remember.
to Zento. The creature reaches down with a sudden burst of speed, and you're going to see these disgusting rolls of fat shake on the creature as a mouth on its gut begins to laugh heartily at him. As it touches Zento with one claw outstretched, you're going to see Zento begins to bleed uncontrollably. and his legs begin to shake as the creature just barrels him to the side, seemingly without care for him, and barrels through the gate itself.
I guess that gate's not there anymore.
So move Zento probably 4 inches to the left, my left, and then push the gate out of the, or like destroy the gate.
Okay, so gate goes bye-bye entirely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
over here.
And move the creature forward about halfway on that first street.
Just pick him up. It's stupid to
You
keep
sure?
trying to move that thing.
Okay, about here.
A little more. Right. You see,
Is he within 60 now?
yes.
Okay.
As it moves forward, all of the mouths simultaneously say,
We have not feasted on fairy flesh for eons.
it's Hero's turn. Hero is
Danblith has been chatting with things.
knee-knobbing. His knees are shaking. He holds up his stick. And you're going to see him grip tightly, and then you will see him rush forward and rage.
God, please don't die, Hero. Not in front of your family when I said I'd help protect you.
Hero dashes adjacent
I have
to
no trust.
Vorast. Go ahead and move him up.
I want you to.
Move Hero up to him. He dashes, so it's the end of his turn. And it is
Okay,
Juniper.
What?
For contagion, I looked it up. It is lesser restoration you'll use.
Okay, cool. Annoyingly, it is a touch range.
Enjoy that.
What exactly does contagion do, please?
It does 5 separate effects, depending on which one he chooses.
Can I tell which one he chose?
Bleed uncontrollably from every orifice.
Okay. What does that do mechanically, please?
Disadvantage on con saves, and if he takes damage, he's stunned.
Oh, that's horrid. If I wanted to make lesser restoration a ranged spell, how many points would that be?
2.
I think it is in my better interest to attack at the moment, but I will keep that in mind. You have this one, Julian. Can you read off Spirit Guardians for me real quick, please? Unless I find it first.
15-foot radius on yourself. Concentration up to 10 minutes. You call forth spirits to protect you. They flit around you for a distance of up to 15 feet for the duration. They are angelic or fey, your choice. When you cast the spell, designate a number of creatures you can see that are unaffected by it. An affected creature's speed is halved in the area, and when the creature enters the area for the first time or starts their turn there, it must make a wisdom save or take 3d8 radiant damage. On a successful save, the creature takes half damage.
Do I know if darkness creatures take extra radiant?
Most of the time they do, but perhaps not an elder.
True. Do I know?
You do not know this creature well enough.
Fair
you only know legend and lore upon him.
That's fair enough, I guess.
You do know enough, of course, to know that acid and poison are going to be useless against it.
Okay. Thank you for saying that. Call lightning.
Call lightning.
I wish I had that spell on me.
What?
I said I wish I had that spell on me right now.
What, call lightning?
Yeah.
It's directly actually perfect. Do you not have it?
I don't know what the heck happened to my spells. They were all here.
Do you
And
need
then-
call lightning?
Nope, I found it.
I was gonna say, I thought you had all your spells.
It was hiding.
All right, a storm wreathes above Juniper.
June is going to hold her hand up, and then actually she opens her cloak, and as she does, the storm starts collating on it, and then it mirrors what's happening in the sky, and then she brushes it like this and points.
All right, a bolt of lightning tears down towards him. Is it Dex?
Probably yes. It's a dex save.
He rolls a 15, which I believe fails.
Excellent.
He is struck by the bolt.
Take your 3d10 damage, you jerkwad.
Okay, he will.
I had more dice at one point. Please be good. Be as good as the d6s. But better. It wasn't, but it's okay. 13. That's really shitty. 13 lightning damage.
All right. With the lightning strikes down, the bolt hits him on the shoulder and seems to wreathe down his fat on the front of him, coursing through his mouth. And honestly, it barely seems to affect it at all.
She's gonna get away from the house, and
Okay.
she's gonna go that way.
Okay.
She's trying to circle around to a more open area.
What's your speed? 30?
3, 4. I think I can go one more, but I'm kind of happy there.
All right. So Jennifer moves there. All right. And anything else?
Maintain concentration.
Okay. The storm continues to roil above you. At the end of your turn, he performs a legendary action.
I don't like it.
He is going to lash out with one of the tentacles, and it just extends way out to strike at you, even from where you are.
I don't like it.
20 VAC?
No, it misses.
I don't think it does. 10 points of acid damage.
Okay, so 5.
The thing is going to lick out and strikes into the stone adjacent to you, and flecks of acid are going to like strike against the side of you. You hear the sizzle of them.
Okay, I have to do it on my turn probably.
Right. It is Zento. All right. He is going to stagger upwards and rush up towards the back of the creature. You see his eyes are becoming filled with blood, but he wipes them away and makes a smear like war paint on his face. He moves up behind and strikes into the creature's flesh several times, with these large crystals becoming spikes on his fist. All right, the creature is going to... it seems to notice, and you also notice it wince in its face, as though Zento is not just attacking it physically. The creature's going to turn and, like, with its great gnarled stick, it's going to slam down, but Zento winds up directly in between the points of the gnarled staff.
Good job, Zento. Keep it up. Be
All right.
fresh.
All right. And Zento is, excuse me, the creature is going to attack him. Okay. It will hit him. Zento. Okay, the creature's belly is going to spew slime onto Zento.
Gross.
And he takes a lot of poison damage. He is poisoned until the slime is scraped off. Okay, also, Hero is poisoned because he is within 10 feet of the creature when that happens.
Of course.
So both of them are taking disadvantage on everything. And it's Hero's turn. You are hearing that thud over on the wall, in addition to the blasting on the outside of the shield, increase in ferocity. Hero is going to strike at the creature with his staff. Okay, that went real bad.
Maybe get out of there.
Okay,
Hero.
he turns and like whacks the creature once, and it seems to do nothing, and then he like pulls back. The creature like rears in front of him with his huge girth, and he strikes at one of the teeth, and it like just snaps down on his magic staff, just breaking it in two.
Well, crap.
Hero like staggers back from the creature, and it just like spews slime all over him. It is its turn. Okay. Since Zento has done the most damage to it, it is going to attack Zento. Wow, that went super great, actually. He had to succeed a DC 21 dex save.
Good job, Zento.
Okay, that's actually fantastic. He would have taken 10d10 points of damage if he had missed that. So the creature is going to turn towards Zento and like put the mouth on his arm towards him, and then simultaneously through every orifice vomit acid onto Zento. But even though he is down and out, looking very badly, he is going to leap to the side with all the nimbleness that the Emperor can possess, and dodges the burning acid that's going to put a huge hole, a sinkhole in the ground. So that's fantastic. That would have almost killed him.
You?
It is your turn, Jennifer.
June is going to turn into a fairy.
Okay. Awesome.
And she's going to fly up where she can see Zento. And she's going to spend 2 wish points to cast Lesser Restoration on him.
Okay. I believe he's just healed, right? Does he need to roll anything?
No, it's gone.
Okay.
Since I spent wish points, can I take care of both the poisoned and the disease?
How many wish points did you spend?
2.
Yeah, I'll allow it.
Excellent.
Okay. Zento is going to see him kind of like look relieved, and the fire returns to his eyes as he kind of wipes what's left of like the blood over his face. He looks like he's some kind of barbarian tribal berserker, although that's hero right now.
So I'm holding on to this. I'm assuming that it requires an action to be able to actually use the lightning on my turn.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to continue to hold the spell.
Okay.
She is now up in the air. She's going to... she'll be within 60.
Okay. It's going to roll well above a 20 to hit with a legendary action against you.
Does it hit farther than 60 feet? Like at 60 feet?
It does.
Okay.
What would you say your distance was?
60 feet.
60 feet. Okay. It is easily able to reach 60 feet.
From
Yeah.
its head, by the way.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. It puts its arm up and the giant tentacle lashes out towards you and like washes, trying to swat you out of the air, but acid
so
flecks
tiny.
go all over. Okay, the same damage as last time.
Okay.
All right.
This is sucky.
You see the damage that you have
can do
done
it.
seems to regenerate
him.
on the creature.
Maybe a different tactic.
Okay. You are going at the end of a round to suddenly see that great battering ram-like noise on the side of the shield.
I have a good
Finally
vantage now.
causes it to give way, and Orega bursts onto the scene.
Yo! Hey, buddy! Help us out.
He is breathing heavily, and he's going to look around, and he suddenly sees Vorath. He says, "Ho, foul beast! This is not your time!" He says, "At you!" And he comes forward.
Excellent timing, my giant friend. I am tiny, you cannot see me.
All right. Okay, he is going to like lift off the ground, and you're going to see his eyes like course with lightning, and he just blasts towards him with his shield out, and is going to move adjacent.
This is a very lightningy fight.
Yes, it is.
Hey, so he's like a lightning giant and all, and there's like now a lightning storm going on. Do we get any synergy going?
Yes, actually, because he rolled a critical hit. So you
Excellent.
get to roll a free
Jason, isn't it?
critical hit lightning bolt damage as it strikes on his hammer.
All right.
And does like a super
Damage?
hit. Yeah, just damage.
Whoo, I like it. Matt has one more D8. 10. D10. That's the one I'm looking for. Actually, I have one. Never mind.
His crit initially does 69 points.
Oh my. I feel like this is lightning-y looking. Go from being poisoned to lightning all at once.
I will support the lightning.
Oh, much better this time.
And it crits, so it's 60, 10, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I need one more d10. Damn, I only rolled 4. Yeah. Hi, brother. I can't count today, apparently. It's just something. Oh, wow! $41 lightning damage.
41. All right. As he strikes at the creature and just this huge lightning bolt, as he holds up his hammer, crashes, and at the same time it like gets struck by a bolt of lightning and it sears right through his whole body. The creature, you realize at this point, is resistant to lightning damage.
Of course he is.
How much damage did you do with your bolt?
Frack, I knew you were going to ask that again.
40.
Hang on. Was it 41?
1.
41.
41. Right.
Of course he's resistant to lightning. I picked the weird one on purpose because I figured fire would be auto.
Okay, total, you did 72 damage with it halved. Which is very
Dang.
That's
impressive.
still pretty good.
You know what? Good job, Orega. Keep it up. All
All
right,
right.
switching.
He's going to slam his shield down in front of the creature and like kind of harry it backwards. He says, "You are the foulest beast I've ever fought." And the creature's going to like spew maggots at his shield.
Ew.
All right. And it is back to top of the round. It's Zento. Okay, the foul stench, unfortunately, is probably going to poison him anyway, but let's see. Yes, the foul stench will poison him at the start of his turn.
You know what? At least it's not the one that stuns him, because that was horrible.
Okay, Orega is going to eat his legendary action as the creature like rakes against his shield, and you see that the shield, despite its structure, seems to be rotting as the creature tears against it. All right, the creature is going to regenerate. Oh no, it's Zento. I'm sorry, it's Zento, not him. Okay. Zento's turn is not fantastic. He is going to strike heavily at the creature, but the initial explosion of damage that he was able to do, he seems unable to replicate it. All right. Then he is going to... So the stench is screwing him up, so he's going to use his monk ability to disengage, and he's going to run behind that wall back there, back where the creature first started.
Over
Yeah,
here?
right there, exactly. All right. And at the end of his turn... No, you can't do that. Okay. It is Vorath. Okay, seemingly met by the powerful giant. It is going to... Okay, the same shit that it just did to Zento and he was able to dodge it. It's going to just, like, spew vomit all over and around his shield and try to hit a much slower giant with it. Oh my god. He rolled so good. He rolled a 19 on the die. He actually succeeds.
Who does?
Orega.
Okay, good.
So,
Sorry, you were the he's were ambiguous and I couldn't tell.
right. So the creature is going to turn and like open all of his orifices, and just this fountain of vomit is going to spew at Orega.
Hero, get the heck out of there!
As that happens, Orega's going to slam his shield down, and it sort of like he moves his shoulder to the side, and it sort of creates this like river flow that's going to shoot off to the left, and then he rolls nimbly, and Hero's like ah as he jumps out of the way of a rolling storm giant. As the trail follows him, but is going to miss and burn huge holes in the street.
Pleasant.
All right. Juniper.
Okay.
It is, Hero is going to... Okay. He's going to, like, kind of get back and realizes that he is in very substantial danger in the midst of the titans fighting. So he's
Yes.
going to run back towards his house.
Good call, hero.
He will.
Further?
He's going to disengage, so he'll move like 6 inches towards his house, roughly.
Free action, June calls out to Hero, guard the door.
Okay. Hero is going to look at his house, and he looks up at you, and you see like worry on his face. He sees something through the window, you think, that is worrying him inside his own home.
I'm convinced it's probably that they're all getting corrupted by darkness.
Okay. He rushes in that direction. It's you.
Okay. June is going to... Who seemed to have been doing more damage? Orega or Zento?
Orega, by far.
Okay. June is going to flit down within 30 feet coming this direction behind him.
Yeah.
Still, well, actually, she could be super high up because he's really tall. She's going to cast haste on him. She's going to drop Call Lightning because she realizes it's not doing much.
Okay. As you hasten Orega, you are going to see a great turn in the fight. Orega is going to slam his shield into the creature at lightning speed, and not just because he's a storm giant. And you're going to see the creature like kind of shriek with it seems unable to muster the wave of bile that it just did, and is pushed back towards the graveyard
I
as
have
the
a
fight
question.
goes to continue.
How many points would it be to be able to hold concentration for 2 spells?
5.
I don't need to right now. It's fine. I was thinking about dual casting haste on both Orega and Zento.
All right. As the creature is harried back and a swarm of undead begin to surround Zento, and he begins to strike them in the graveyard. Hero is going to call out, Juniper! Towards his house. And you see terror on his face.
What is God doing in there? Why isn't he helping? He has 5 wish points at all points in time. Do something.
Do you move down in that direction or towards the battle?
Well, she is 60 feet here.
You see Orega has successfully harried the creature away from the village towards the graveyard at the moment.
She doesn't have any more movement.
We're out of combat.
Oh, yes, she'll swing down real quick.
As you swing down towards the house, Hero has stepped inside, and as you step inside, you see Dominus. He has a blade to Hero's neck.
Wait, how did Hero get inside?
Hero rushed in.
God damn it, Hero. I said guard the door, don't go in.
That's his family.
I'm sorry. So, Hero rolled well enough. So, God is the one with the blade to his neck.
Honestly, that's actually worse.
You see Dominus standing there, looking towards you. He says, So, we meet at last. Juniper, Godmother, Fairy.
Dominus.
We have a lot to talk about. Why don't you shut the door?
Why don't you let him go?
I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to let any of them go. You suddenly see the others begin to writhe, and you realize that he has infected each of them with darkness. He's turning them into darklings now.
You said you want to speak. Then speak and stop doing this.
No, I don't think I will. I've heard too much about the power of wishes to give you any leg up.
How many wish points would it be to get all of them out of there? Or just take him. I like that one better. How about we just take him?
So taking him will not take care of the darkness inside of them, which you're sure he has some manner of control of. He will kill them all.
Okay.
He has clearly knowledge that you have the ability to plenty of stuff and has gone throughout his difficulty to make this as difficult as possible for you to take care of all angles. You're looking at like 30 to take care of the whole situation.
That costs more than that to fight Satan.
Satan wasn't prepped specifically for you.
Yes, he was.
Plus, Satan was kind of throwing the fight.
True, but still, he was actively going against her. Seriously, 30? Okay, fine, whatever.
So Satan didn't infect everybody with darkness. That's the real cost
True
here.
facts.
It's like 5 per meek to rip it out of them with wishes alone. I mean, normally it's a surgery.
That's fact. What do you want?
He's going to hold up a very tiny little coin-like object with a tiny wire through it. I want you to put this on. And that's where we're going to end today. Thank you, noble heroes, for coming to join us for this session, as long as it was. And we ask you to go ahead and give us a like and subscribe if you enjoyed our content. And remember, do try this at home.